to the FuturePrint Virtual Summit. I have with me here a gentleman called Stefan Orr, who is the Vice President of Innovation at SIL, a famous Swiss company with a focus on developing materials for printing and a particular focus on new areas and market development. So the session we have here today really does focus on the opportunities for design and customization with 3D diffusion printing, which is a new thing we're going to be learning about. So welcome, Stefan.
Hi, Marcus.
Hi, and welcome today. And I think excited to hear and learn more about materials. And you know, often we hear a lot about inks and inkjet heads and so on, but here we're going to be learning about how materials can enable new possibilities. Before we go into that in more detail, Stefan's going to introduce a little more about SIL as a business and also the markets in which you operate. I think that'll give us a nice kind of context as to the track record and global reach of the business before we then go into talking a bit more about the new products, which is a positive thing for us to hear going forward. So Stefan, over to you.
So you know SIL from envelopes, labels, tickets, photo papers, advertising, displays, and wallpapers. We have certainly and for sure met before. We from SIL, we code, functionalize surfaces, are experts in digital printing and the applications behind. Here you see some of our applications, and we differentiate our world into the graphical applications that you can see here. Where I would like to speak about today is about our very new market segment. It's called personalized. Yeah, I come to that later on. The other world that we have in our portfolio is the more industrial applications. And here you see also the segment that I have talked the last time about packaging, where we had a session. So yeah, this is the market that we serve. We are a Swiss company. We are based in Bern. There's our headquarters. Our production site is in Germany, in Düren. Here we produce all our products, and we have in America, very close to Boston, and distribution hub and converting center where we serve the American, the Canadian, also the South American markets. Just to give you some figures, and then I will end the SIL introduction. We are a company with 400 employees, a mid-sized company. We have an annual turnover of 120 million, and spend a lot of time in developing and innovate.
Brilliant. So obviously as a business, you've operated in you're famous in a lot of the kind of markets that people are perhaps familiar with. Explain a bit about your role, because as Vice President of Innovation, I assume you spend a lot of your time looking at new possibilities, develop and seeing what problems need to be solved out in the market.
So what I'm doing is developing new business segments, developing new applications. On the one hand side, this is where my main focus is. So here we are looking really to the mega trends level, maybe crossing mega trends, looking where digitalization, also personalization matters, and then developing applications and new products behind. This is one role. On the other hand side, I'm looking to maintain existing businesses so that we have a new product portfolio available to serve our today's market. But for sure, my focus is on the future.
Sure. And obviously with the current situation in mind, I guess you have continued innovating. That hasn't changed, right?
No, that hasn't changed. And as you have seen, the last time when we met, I can just show you that here we talked about customization. This started with the interior design very in the beginning, where we created feel-good atmospheres with our digital printable wallpapers. And this has developed into packaging, where we talked about our Artuso brand during the last session we had, This has been launched this year. Here we are now developing the market, and now we bring that to a new level. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means what's next for seals. So coming back to your question, so then we are currently looking to the customization and the industrial design of complex forms that you can find in everyday life. So here we call it the seal Supplicolor 3D technology, where we really enable the individualization of printed designs on all 3D objects.
Yeah. And with that in mind, it's how much do you, a point of interest for me really, how much of this is developed with perhaps some other partners in the marketplace? Is this something you develop in isolation, or do you work with different groups?
Well, I'm somehow here a believer. I think you cannot do it everything alone. So you have to get inspired. You have to inspire other people. You have to cooperate. And for sure, this product and the result that we have now achieved is for sure a cooperation product with a lot of technology providers. On the one hand side, you need a good ink. You need in this particular case a printer. You need an oven, and you need a film, and the film is coming from us.
Right. Yes, a key part of it to collaborate and so on.
Yeah.
Excellent. And
so the progress, if you want it like that, when it comes to customization, started in the wallpaper, goes over packaging, where we more addressed the needs of the packaging industry to produce smaller batch sizes, to make more individual food stuff for all the peer groups out there. And now we transfer that to everyday life objects. So you can now, with our technology, design plus minus all objects independently of the size, independently of the shape, independent of the material, that was not able before.
Exciting. And how new is this into the market? Is this sort of brand new?
Yeah. So what is really new is the process, because the past. So this was more sublimation, yeah. And the sublimation was somehow limited. I come to that later on. But here we really changed the whole process and the way how things are produced. Means we are now super fast. The process is super robust and simple, and it's really designed for an industrial use. So to show you some pictures, the idea is to come from a shoe looking like that in a very short term to a shoe that looks like this. And there's no foil, no film that is getting applied. It's just the ink that is getting transferred. Or from very complex shapes. Yeah, this is polyolefin material, so it's a very complex shape for us, with all the details, and you can really fully print that. So you have totally new design freedoms, totally new ideas what you can do with that. So, or you can really transfer it to the electronic industry, where you can design housings, where you can go to helmets, so where you can design bottles now, and so on. So we have really no limitation on the size of the material, on the shape of the material, and on the material itself. And
you use the word, the title diffusion.
Yeah.
That suggests to me that it's you still use heat, obviously, but not in the same way as sublimation.
Yeah, absolutely. So the process is today somehow used in the sublimation area, where you have really high temperatures, and means around 180 to 200 degrees, and it took really long. For example, many mobile covers are individualized via a sublimation process. In our case, we really rethought that and redesigned it, because the high temperature is a big limitation when it comes to the use of the different materials, because some and most materials are just melting away. And therefore, we really reduced the temperature, and we created now an operating window where you can use standard polymers coming from an injection molding process like that, where you can print our film, and then you are operating our film in a process where you have heat of around 150 degrees and only for very short term time.
Okay, so that's quite a breakthrough technology by the sound of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's really new, and this enables really various different applications, from very individual applications where people can come into a store, make their shoe, create their shoe, and take it away in 2 minutes. So this is a project and something that has been realized with Under Armour, a very good, very big consumer brand. They have launched this product in their flagship store last week, where we have provided the film together with our partner Tricord, that's the oven manufacturer and the solution provider behind. And this is really the most individual thing you can do. You go in the shop, create your shoe. They have a white shoe in the wall. You just take it out and produce your shoe, and you just go after 3 minutes out of the store and you have your individual shoe.
Wow.
So and this is what has been done.
Yeah, that's really cool. So with Under Armour, obviously that's a big brand name that's kind of really got behind this. Is that something you developed in partnership with them, or did you guys go to them and say, this is possible, how about it? How did it come about?
So it come up with Under Armour. So this come up with Tricord. Tricord was in contact with Under Armour, so they developed together with us the film, and they have the oven technology. I can show you that also later on, where you now can individualize shoes, because if you have to wait 15 minutes as it was in sublimation, so this is not something for an in-store concept, and it's not something for an industrial production. And also the high temperature avoids the use of shoes, because just the down part of the shoe does melt away.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I can see the potential for this as being really, really something, actually, isn't it? I mean, that sort of trainers are particularly younger people. They're a key statement, aren't they? I would imagine. How does it work?
For this sneaker application, absolutely. Yeah,
you call it sneaker, we call them trainers. But how does it work though? Are there set designs? So you go into a store and there are going to be a selection of different designs, or can you genuinely create your own?
So both are possible. I don't know how this is organized in detail with Under Armour. For sure, you have to make sure that everything what you put on the shoe is compliant. The corporate messages you want to send out, etc. You really have to avoid that. So the design topic is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that you had some images to use that perhaps showed a little bit more around the technical element of it. Is that right, with Tricord?
Yeah. So the technique looks like that. So we have here the Seal Supplicolor 3D film that is ready for a printing process. Here you have a thermoformable film with an ink receiving layer, and you can print on that with special inks. And then you go with heat and some time to a point where the softening point of the film is reached. So for example, at 70 or 80 degrees. And once this is achieved, you put on a vacuum and you really deep draw somehow the film over in 3D objects, maybe a film, maybe a shoe, maybe maybe a buckle or whatever it is. And then you increase the temperature for really short term to 100, 150, 100, 155, 160 degrees, something like that. And then the ink transfers to the object and is then scratch resistant, etc. It's really part of the object. There's not the film that is going over, it's just the ink.
Yeah, so, it's clever.
And what you need for that is really a standard. You need a standard printer, for example, an Epson printer. You need inks, maybe from Sensi or Sawgrass or whatever it is. And we really recommend to work together with Tricord. This is a Tricord shuttle oven system. That's a more industrial oven where you have trays that coming in and coming out so that you have a continuous process. So this really enables an high volume mass production where you can produce, for example, hundreds or thousands of buckles, if you want it like that. So if you go to Under Armour, if you have in-shop concepts, for example, then the oven looks a little bit different. It's more an oven to attract people, where you have cameras inside that shows what happens actually, and but the technology behind it's really the same. So what's new? This was also your question. So on the IR oven technology from Tricord is that it's really new that the heat transfer is done in a very specific way. So you do not have to heat up the whole oven to 150 degrees. The heat is really transferred to the point where it's really needed. That means to the film and to the ink. And that's enough. We do not have to heat up the object. So, and due to the low operating temperature, we are able to use every somehow injection molded part. And this is somehow the entrance key for more industrial applications. And for sure, the process reduced the cycle times. In the past, the cycle times were around 10 to 15 minutes. Now we are down to maybe 2.5. So this is really, really fast. And from the seal technology, from the subcolor technology, if you want it like that, here there are also new things available. For example, our film is instant dry. You do not have to print out the film. You do not have to dry it in an oven. You can directly use it. You can print overnight on a roll. So this really also enables the more industrial use and applications. And for sure, the innovation step that we brought on was also the ink release at low temperatures. Yeah, so this was also a big thing and enables the diffusion process. And that this was the third part. What is also new, we have a monomaterial here, because at the end of the day, the film is getting wasted and we can reuse it. It's not a composite material. It's not metallized on the back. It's a monomaterial, and we really ensure that you can reuse it or recycle it. Yeah. So to summarize, the new possibilities we have brought in was opening up a wide range of new end-use applications, because the low temperature enables standard polymers. We are totally unlimited in the individualization and design, and the process is super, super fast.
Yeah, it sounds, like I said, like a kind of bit of a breakthrough, really. Had you just in terms of markets, so you showed a couple of the technologies that perhaps, or printing technologies it works well with, Epson, for example. What kind of, so a printer is looking at the moment for new opportunities and new ways and new markets and new applications. What kind of printer do you think this is relevant for? What kind of market? Wide format? What kind of?
Yeah, currently we are working here with wide format printers. So We use Epson printers in our labs, but for sure there are also other printers available.
So if you're a wide format printer a company and you have some Epson technology, do you need to buy a new Epson printer, or is it something you can deploy within your existing machines?
You can change the ink. So we have now this Epson T320, I think, in our labs. This is something that we have installed, but for sure there are other wide format printers. You do not have to have a specific printer for that.
Yeah. But like you say, the critical element is obviously aside of the ink is having that kind of oven.
Yeah, the critical is for sure the ink and the oven technology and the combination, because Tricord have a nice software tool behind where you can really have an upload and program that somehow steers the development of the temperature, that defines how much temperature is coming in to which point of time in order to achieve a perfect result. So in action, it really looks like that. So this is just an example of a production with a shuttle oven. Here you have the objects, you put the film on top, it goes into the oven. Here it's getting thermoformed, and the ink is getting transferred, and then you can just put it out and you have the object printed. So in parallel, the other shuttle is going into the oven and is getting transferred. So it's really a very, very parallel and productive system where you have plus minus no times where nothing happens.
Yeah. Interesting. And if you wanted to find out more about this, or you wanted to perhaps you're interested as a printer in trying this out, how would they contact you directly, or what's the best method for taking this forward? Because it offers new opportunities, and it could be quite interesting for a lot of people at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I have a wish, then I would really like to inspire all industrial designers and designers out there, and to use this new technology. And I see this discussion we have, Markus, also as a kind of invitation for all of them who are interested. And please come to us, collaborate with Seal, and contact me and my team, and then we can show you how the process works, and we can go into cooperation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they can email you at your email address, which is...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is your email address, if you want to share that?
So, yeah, you have it. So it's steffen.or@seal.com, but you can also meet me and my team on the virtual table during the conference and afterwards. Yeah,
absolutely. And Steffen also has an entry on the speakers at the on the website, which has his LinkedIn connection as well, if you want to link in with him or ask him any specific questions. That's brilliant. And what's I think is really positive about this session is that whatever's happening in the wider world, humanity will always create new ideas, right? New ideas are the lifeblood of progress, and regardless of what's happening, there is a place for clever technology that solves new possibilities, or solves problems and creates new possibilities. So well done with that cool new technology. Best of luck with Under Armour as well, and the trainers or sneakers, whatever we decide to call them. I think it's a really positive message you're putting out there, and I wish you all the success.